Hello, welcome to White Birch Tarot. This reading is for Wednesday the 19th, Thursday the 20th, for a few days. We're getting ready for some really interesting astrology happening. The Sun and Venus are currently conjunct near the final degrees of Libra, and then they move together into Scorpio on, I think, around Saturday or Sunday, depending on where you live in the world. And I think it's interesting that they're going hand in hand into Scorpio together. And then a few days after that, we have, or is it, yeah, I think it's the 25th of October, we have a partial solar eclipse in Scorpio. So anyway, lots of scorpionic energy coming through. So I thought I would do a reading, and I'm going to start off with a poem. I didn't write down where I got this. I remember copying it out of a book, and I like to give credit to people, but I really like this for some reason. It goes like this. Stephen kissed me in the spring, Robin in the fall, but Colin only looked at me and never kissed at all. Stephen's kiss was lost in jest, Robin's lost in play, but the kiss in Colin's eyes haunts me night and day. I think that's kind of apropos for Scorpio coming up, because Scorpio, which rules the 8th house in your chart and is ruled by Pluto, rules what is hidden from us. It rules the occult and death and rebirth and intimacy and all kinds of things. It's a very intense energy. I like it, but it can be a little much. So I drew the cards, and I haven't really thought about them yet, but I just wanted to get them out so you don't have to listen to me shuffle. And this is an interesting mix of cards for this Scorpio energy coming up, because we get the vision. These are, what are they? These are the Kim Kranz archetype cards. I love these. And we get the vision, which tells me that you could be having a kind of a revelation shortly with this Scorpio energy coming in. You might see things, either something that was hidden from you before, where it isn't necessarily like hidden from someone else. It could be hidden within your own self, and you just didn't see it, like your own behavior, or just having an epiphany of, oh my God, why did I never look at it this way before? Now I get it. That's what I get from this card. It's an awakening of something that you hitherto had not really seen or hadn't looked at in that way. You may have been skirting around the issue, but now you get to the real heart of it, and it finally makes sense. And then I drew the Eternal Child, which I kind of associate with Leo energy, actually. Not necessarily, though. But the Eternal Child can be really, really good. It's that part of us that springs eternal, as does hope. The part of us that is always playful, always alive, always wanting to laugh and have fun. But it also reminds us that there's a part of us that is always a child, and if you've undergone any kind of, childhood neglect or abuse, or, we've all had something to varying degrees. This could be a time when that this vision may connect with something from your past that happened when you were a child, or just your overall childhood energy, how you were raised, what's in there. And again, this can be both, I'm not going to say negative, but it can be both deep and haunting, like something that you were lacking that you realize, or it can also be something that you hold on to that gives you eternal hope. It's that one thing where you can always go to that, kind of saves you, whether it's music or nature or literature or boat, I don't know, whatever's your thing, there's something that we all, I think, love that saves us, hopefully. And then I draw the fault line, and I love this card, even though it's very intense, which goes along with the Scorpio energy, because it means there's a crack in something, and it's splitting something into two. And I've been watching a lot of, I've mentioned before on this channel, I love Teal Swan, who posts videos, and I wouldn't call them self-help exactly because she's so different. But she talks about how ourselves are fragmented. We think we're one person, but of course we're not. We're many different people inside. And sometimes those parts of ourselves are we're conscious of them. You know, there's a part of me that's the wife or the mother or the girlfriend or the friend or the whatever your job is, the nurse, the seat, whatever you do for work, you know, you could dig ditches, whatever you do for work. There's that part of you, but there's also emotionally a lot of fragmented selves, and there may be parts of us that we have not integrated. And this suggests to me that there's a very large crack, a very large separation within us that we might want to look at. And just as an example, like for myself, I tend to, what's the word, polarize things. So I tend to look at things either as all bad or all good. And of course, that is not the reality, because there's really nothing that's totally bad, totally good. Most things are a mixture, and we're all a mixture of different things. And I have to constantly remind myself of that. I'm very judgmental about, ooh, that's bad, or this part of me, you know, I'm all this or I'm all that. No, it doesn't work that way. We're usually made up of many, many different pieces. But this suggests that there's a crack somewhere that you might want to look at, because fault lines can be kind of dangerous. And I'm not saying it's a negative thing, but it might be something you want to look at and see if you can repair and try to bring the opposing sides into, well, you know, into more balance. And so I feel like it's something old, something from our childhood, and also that we may gain some clarity about it. And again, this can come on as like a sudden, just like a sudden epiphany where you're just like, oh my gosh. It can, and you know, you can be working on something for a long time, and then it still can just resolve itself instantly. Like all of it's like you're putting pieces of a puzzle together, and you put the last piece in, and you're like, oh, I get it. That's what this is a picture of. Okay, so I'm going to draw a couple of Wisdom of the Oracle cards. We got this a few times ago, to be fair. And this is interesting because I said the Sun and Venus were conjunct in Libra right now. And of course, Libra is all about being fair. It's about seeing both sides of the issue. And again, the fault line is about letting the, where'd it go? Letting the both and be true, rather than saying, I have to be this or I have to be that. Maybe not. You know, maybe you can find some balance between the two. And it's interesting too, I like this, that the vision card is very balanced. We've got two hands, up and above, two trees, two owls. It's kind of like a mirror image of each other. So there's a lot of balancing going on here. So try to aim for the middle rather than flying off into the extreme and saying, oh, this is all one way or this is all another way. And again, I think that's Scorpio energy. I'll post again when we get closer to the what is it? The new moon in Scorpio, and then the solar eclipse. Okay, this is interesting. No place like home. You know, usually this is a really good card, which suggests that you need to find that space in yourself that I was talking about with the eternal child, where there's one thing or a couple things that you hold on to that always make you feel better no matter what. And I'm getting that from this, but I'm also getting the opposite. I'm also getting the fact that this looks rather precarious to me. This home is not exactly stable. And again, you know, your home doesn't have to be 100% stable in order to be your home. You could be a gypsy spirit traveling around. No place is 100% stable, but I never noticed before. It looks like a raging sea at the bottom of this. And tonight when I draw this, I'm getting the feeling that maybe the home we grew up in wasn't exactly as stable as we hoped. And perhaps it's our job to try to find something solid within ourselves to hang on to, so that you know, it doesn't feel quite so tricky. Let's draw. Speaking of tricky, let's draw. Do I really want to go here to the fairies, or do I want to go to the wild unknown? Which one's calling me? I was going to draw a fairy card, but no, I'm changing my mind here. I'm flip-flopping as we do in Libra season. I had to put my candle on an abalone shell. No, is that abalone? I think so, because it was leaving wax marks all over my cloth here. So it's floating on a. Okay, come on. Since shells come from the sea, I'm getting a sea image. I never noticed that sea below this no place like home before. This one almost feels sarcastic to me, like, you know, like, yeah, no place like home. Ain't that the truth? If you come from a chaotic home. Okay, I drew 2 cards. Actually, I drew 3. I don't want 3, though. So I'm going to take the top one. The one that I saw first. This is interesting, okay? This looks very Scorpionic as well. The 9 of Wands, which is us climbing out of the darkness, or perhaps going down into the darkness, but I feel more like we've been down in the darkness and we're starting to come back up. And this is a new moon, which of course we're going to have, let's see, what did I say? I think it's Tuesday, the 25th. There's a new moon in Scorpio. Am I right? Or is it Libra? I just looked it up. Come on. No, it's Scorpio. It's Scorpio. It's at the beginning of Scorpio. So this is that new moon in Scorpio, I think, where we've been down into, because I feel like it's starting already. It has for me. The dark Scorpionic energy has already started for me, although it's been positive. So, you know, you go down into the depths and you climb back up to the new moon, and then you, in the moonlight, you look at what you've brought up, and I think you're going to have clarification or an epiphany, just a realization, I think. I think this is going to be a really, really powerful new moon in Scorpio, with that solar eclipse coming right on the heels of it, with the Sun conjunct Venus, which is about relationships. Doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. It could be any kind of relationship. So family relationships, self-worth, what we value. Interesting. So be on the lookout for something coming from deep inside. I really think something is going to come to you, and I feel that it's ultimately positive, and it's going to change the way you look at things, perhaps even the way you look at yourself. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And I mentioned last time that I was going to start offering private readings, which I will do, but I am not great with technology, and I opened a new email account under White Birch Tarot, and now I can't find it. Yeah, that was a couple months ago, but still, it's frustrating. So I have to work on that. Not my best thing. So anyway, take care. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.